are. Like full circle. I'm so happy to see you. I have no idea.
So Max,
like, when I found out you guys were still doing your damn thing.
Yeah, man.
I looked you up online. It was like, those are my boys, man. Like,
yeah, man. I always wonder about that, or like we see it a lot from like bands we used to play with, like around town and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, who's still left?
Right.
And like, there's not a lot of people still doing it. You know what I mean?
No, it's not for the, it's not for everybody. This industry like weeds out it's the survival of the fittest. You know what I mean? And it's like the people that are in it for the right reasons will last the test of time. Like the people that aren't doing it for the money, that aren't doing it for the attention, it's like we love this. This is a process. From the recording to the writing the songs, the touring, and I always saw that in you guys. Like
Thanks,
the
man.
passion and the enthusiasm. Going to school with you and going to your shows. I was like, oh no, these guys are for real. They're in it for the long run.
I'm pretty sure that you saw one of the first Faceplant shows.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure at Tunnel Nightclub.
Yeah.
We were talking about this.
You're dressed to the nines, like in a suit.
It was like right when we went to Nimbus. It was awesome, man.
Yeah.
Gave us a nice warm embrace.
But you were always like super supportive of us and came to all of our shows, and I was super stoked on that. I was like, yeah, man.
I looked forward to that.
Yeah, awesome.
Fucking front row. Like,
yeah, giving her.
Yeah.
I liked it because you know what? You were always really honest with us about feedback and stuff like that too. Because sometimes your family or friends come out and they're like, yeah, that was great. But you're like, but was it really great? Or like, what's the detail notes? Because that's how you actually get better. Oh, yeah. Is when people are actually honest with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Having like honest feedback is so valuable, right? Like you said, sometimes you just like, you live in an echo chamber of people that are surrounding you. Like if you're, just your fans all the time and hearing the same things, you're not really going to grow, right? So yeah, it can be difficult to do that.
Yeah.
But I've gotten better at that, and the music business program at Nimbus helped me with that. The compliment sandwich they used to call it. So, and then I do that every day now, like with the artists that I work with here, like giving feedback. A lot of people come to us and it's like their very first time even standing in front of a mic is here, and it's like, wow. So gotta pump the brakes a little and
that's like a
it.
pretty important thing that, like, if you think about it, like that, even from like your perspective of you recording them, that could be like a make it or break it moment for them of, did I have a good experience? Did this turn out well? Am I going to continue doing this, or am I scared to do this and I'm not willing to go outside my comfort zone?
I've had to have a few of those conversations, like for real. And I've never had anyone like rage at me or like cry or just like break down. It's like the next day I get a text from them and they're like, hey, I really thought about what you said, and like, and it's, that means a lot, cause I want to be genuine, that's what this whole thing is about, we gotta be real with each other.
And the only way that you grow, kind of like what I was talking about with criticism, is you have to actually be able to take criticism well and not realize that someone's not stabbing you with a dagger about it. It's actually, they're actually trying to help you improve. Like whenever you're producing somebody, you're not saying negative things because they're horrible. You're saying negative things because you want them to get better, and they will get better from those things.
Yeah, totally. Because you care.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's keeping you guys up at night these days? Like, what's new and exciting? What are you guys working on?
Wow, man. Like so much. Like it's been, I would say, like Garrett and I have been doing this for so long. Like even like when we met, like I think like we've been jamming since we were like 12, just like picked up instruments and like, like 26 now. It's what a journey so far, and going back to the whole thing about like people coming and going and stuff like that, and like seeing so many of our peers just stop or just not, quote unquote, have the passion to do it anymore. It comes down to just having patience, man, and working hard. So like, even though Garrett and I have been doing this for such a long time, it's only in the past like 2 years I find that like we really have tapped into, kind of our identity as songwriters and performers and stuff like that. And it's tragic to think that there's so many people out there that would have tapped into that if they were just to stay the course. But so many people just, get boggled down by outside influence and lack of funds and pressure from society, pressure from family, and all those voices creep in when speaking of up at night, all those voices creep in at night. And then, like as humans, we obviously think of everything. We feel all the feels and we doubt and all that kind of shit. Like, so, we're not like, we are privy to that, but I think the key is literally, as long as you are moving, as long as you can look at your year last year and be like, okay, am I in a better place this year than I was last year? And even if it's just like a minute amount, then you're on the right track. And I think patience, especially with influence with family and everybody, and with like social, dude, it's like, I was like the social guy for like 2016, 2017. After we wrote our record Animalistic, which we released last year, I was like, okay, now that that's written, now that that's out, it's like, now let's focus on like how to get this out to people in a way that would be unique. And, got us on a billboard in Times Square and like got us, got in, writing a theme song for like my favorite radio show and
the beer too,
got our own beer and all that kind of stuff. And, I focused a lot on social and those kind of cool marketing ideas. Yeah. And a lot of people had opinions, dude. You should be focusing on this. You should be focusing on that. But it's just, at the end of the day, dude, it like, and whoever's listening to this, it's like it's not a race. And we have had, like, especially being together since we were 12, whatever it was, however young we were, we've had opinions come from everybody about what we should do. And as long as you just stay the course and be patient and work, like, it's going to work out. And it, may be different for you than us. It will be different for you than us. And you just have to stay that course and try the best you can to not compare yourself to other people, because that's how you fail, dude.
Yeah, I think that's like something really powerful to say, is like, you have to be yourself. And if you're not yourself, you might as well not do it.
Sure.
Like, the only way, you think about how many artists, musicians are in the world. Like, if you're trying to be, I don't know, like, say from a band standpoint, if you're trying to be the Red Hot Chili Peppers,
that's already taken, man.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers are already really good at being the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You know what I mean? Like you can't do it. You have to be yourself.
Yeah.
And like,
and we struggled with that at the start too. Like, because you get.
Dude, I'm still struggling with that.
Sure.
Yeah. I think everybody does, because you hear what's popular on the radio, or you hear what rock bands are doing now, and it's like, well, if we did that, maybe more people would like us, or maybe this bridges us over to a new audience. But we're like, at the end of the day, it's not going to be as good, because that's actually not what we feel inside, and that's not actually who the Faceplants are. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's important too, I think.
And it's like, with on the tip of just like keeping going and staying the course, I'm gonna, I and the Faceplants are in such a better spot now. Like, I don't know when's the last time we saw you, Max, like years ago.
2012.
Yeah.
Dude, do you know what though? Is we were driving down the street in Vancouver once, and you were outside of a sushi place, and I yelled, "Max!"
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Technically, that was the last time we saw
year,
you.
I think, or something.
Yeah. But to think that, even 2 years ago, like, we're in such a better spot than we were 2 years ago. But to have the audacity to think that we have it all figured out now, like, I'm gonna look back in like 2 years from now and be like, dude, remember that time we did the podcast? Like, I'm just excited, and as quote unquote starving artists, or like, we're still on the demo part, we're not in the limo part yet, So, but it's as long, again, staying that course, man, and just being patient. I love social, but like, I've kind of taken a break from it for a while, and like, it's been a godsend. Really,
a little bit of a step back and clear your head and kind of get a new perspective. Hey,
regroup a little bit.
Yeah. It's like, it can be obvious. Like, this is not a hot take, but like, it can be very toxic at times, and especially now that we're writing new music. Yeah, I like to do it. I like to be the jack of all trades. Like, we have really, as far as like funding goes, and like, we don't really outsource that much at all anymore. And that was kind of the goal over talk about the past 2 years. It has been, the past 2 years, kind of like making everything in-house. Like, okay, I don't like that edit. I don't like that director. I don't like the edit from that editor. So I'll learn how to do it. I don't like this album artwork. So I'll learn how to do it. And
Even from a recording standpoint.
Too.
Well, we were super, like, our first record was done with Ben Kaplan. So it was kind of like a co-production there, and he engineered and mixed it.
Yeah.
And it sounds awesome.
It does. Yeah.
But just going forward, we were like, hey, well, like, we know how to do this too, so let's do it.
Yeah, let's use some of these skills we learned at school,
yeah,
right?
So like the latest single that we released, like, that was Daniel and I did it.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Just for real?
Just
well,
us,
I didn't mix it. Like, we had a guy called JVP mix it.
That's
Shout out
great.
to him.
But how much of it are you involved in then, I guess?
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, wow.
So like that, like you were saying, like, I can't, like, you guys are still doing it. Well, that's why we're still doing it. It's because we figured out that, like, the 5 guys in the band, who's good at what? Okay, who's good at booking the shows? Who's good at recording? Who's good at producing?
Right.
Who writes the songs? Who does the merch stuff?
It's like a superhero squad, right?
It's
Everyone's
exactly.
got
It's like you're building your A team.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know what
yeah,
I mean.
yeah.
And that's the kind of neat thing about being in a band is, like, you're basically taking the best. Okay, so sure, you're an amazing keyboardist, you're an amazing bass player, sure, you're a fantastic singer or drummer, but like, what else can you do?
Yeah.
Like, because like we're, like Daniel says, we're in the demo part.
Yeah.
We're moving up here. We don't have a whole lot of resources. Well, we do, but we don't. You know what I mean? And if you actually want to play the long game,
Yeah.
you have to, reserve some of that and be creative and do things yourself. And
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I also tried to follow that path myself for quite a while when I was still doing my own solo stuff. But I think there comes a certain point where you have to be humble and realize, okay, if someone can do this better than me, I will pay them to do the right job. So
like the mixing of our record.
The mixing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I knew, okay, this guy's fantastic. Like, okay, we should go with this guy.
Yeah, so
You know what I mean?
by all means, like, be your Swiss Army knife, use all your resources, put your team together, put all your heads together and fill each other's gaps and, whatnot. But I think for people listening as well, like, coming up, if you can, maybe don't take your own album cover artwork, with a selfie or something like that, like, because at a certain point you want to stand out, you want to be competitive, and you need the right people to do the right job, I think. So yeah, but that's so great that you guys are doing that, and you're using your, what you learned at Nimbus, the Animalistic record. Can we talk about that for a minute? Like, so fucking world class, you guys.
Really?
Thanks, buddy.
Like, I've been brushing my teeth to that shit.
No.
Like, I have it on. I have it on repeat.
Floss into it.
Portrait of a woman.
Dude, but there's some. I had some key takeaways from it that I want to bring up with you. Like, the first thing that really struck me was, like, the atmospheric kind of, like, epicness that you put. The sound of it, like the soundtrack sound of it, almost. It's not just like rock, but it felt like at times I could have closed my eyes and there could have been a movie on a little bit. You've got, like, the big epic pianos and just sounds in there that really fill the whole room up. And was that intentional? Was there something going on at the time where you guys had a discussion where you're like, were there influences that pushed you to go in that direction? Like,
I mean, again, like, going back to, like, Garrett and I just being together for so long, and it's funny that this is our debut record.
Yeah,
it just goes to show it took that long, man. It took that long. Years after Nimbus.
Yeah,
to figure out some sort of semblance of what we think. Like, so the kind of story behind it. And I'll get to that, like, really specific question, which I think is a great question. Like, after Nimbus, like, that's when Garrett and I were kind of like, this is what we want to do. Like, this is, and Nimbus was, even though, the resources are out there to learn audio and production and all that kind of shit, like, just on YouTube or whatever now, but Nimbus was great for us to kind of be in a room, you'll probably feel the same way, like, be in a room with, or be in a place with other, like, like-minded people that just, like, fired up, and, like, that kind of naive nature of it was just the energy and being around other people that are just like you, and that was so important because that was the moment where we were like, all right, let's do this for real. Like, this is what we're gonna do. So, at that time, we had an EP out, and by no means did I think that I was a good songwriter or anything like that. We were just kind of super duper green. So after Nimbus, we kind of just booked shows and did what we thought a band should do.
Yeah, and
just
stayed busy, right? Like,
book shows and go on tour and stuff. And then after we came home from a couple tours, it was like we need tours, so we need new music. Let's release music, and I didn't really know, as like the main songwriter of the band, I didn't really know what to do, because honestly, the songs back in the day, I was like, they weren't coming from me. They were just like, I think that whomever would...
What's going to be popular?
Yeah, right. Like who's going to sound... I think this band would sound good writing a song like this, so let me write a song like that. And like, that's cool. And like, you have to go through that stage, dude. You know, like you have to. So but when we came back from those tours, it's like, okay, so I and I've said this before in like interviews and stuff, but like, and it's true. I started like writing in a journal just randomly, just about stuff, and then it took, I don't know how many months, but I went back to the journal entries, and I turned like the entries into lyrics, and I was like, oh shit, like it was like an epiphany. I was like, oh, this is amazing, and so the lyrical content, all that kind of stuff of Animalistic is like direct journal entries. Like it couldn't get more personal.
Wow.
Like it couldn't get more personal.
Yeah, right.
And so like that's when I was like, what? Okay, all right, we're onto something here. Like I've said before, and it's true. Like I found that like I feel the best like writing real shit, or like relaying a story somehow to my own personal life. And I learned that I was like an introspective writer, and that's how and so like, okay, let's go on this track. Let's go down this line. As far as the lyrical content and like the realness of it and the genuineness of it came from that.
Yeah, from journal entries.
But like I grew up listening to, and Garrett can speak on this himself too, but like as far as the sound, like I loved, you know, movie soundtracks. Like I'm a big movie guy too. So like Stanley Kubrick movies, or just old school horror movies.
Nice.
Or just anything that Disney does. I kind of subconsciously, like the grandiose, you know, bombastic kind of nature that you hear in John Williams movies or whatever, like really have touched me through the years. Big melodies, you know, like I saw a video the other day, and I was like, whoa, that it said like the art of the melody is dying, and I'm like, that is so true. And like in popular music now, and like they showed a bunch of, I gotta like send you this link, dude, like it's pretty crazy. And it's like even in movie soundtracks, compared to the old, or like the 90s, or even before that, like you think of John Williams or like Jurassic Park, and it's like huge melodies, or like like Jurassic Park, like it's iconic, or like Star Wars,
Absolutely.
or like Home Alone. Like these are huge, beautiful melodies that are lacking now, even in, I'm on a tangent now, but just lacking in today's movie soundtracks. And I don't know what the reason is. I'm not sure, but I've always been drawn and inspired by big bombastic melodies and movie soundtracks. So that's cool that you say that. Because no one's ever brought that up.
Yeah,
and it's interesting.
I think you're the first one.
Wow.
And I think there was like we did want that. Like we were planning for that.
Yeah.
Because like I think we kind of all agreed in as a band, or at least Daniel and I for sure, is that it's like our favorite rock bands or like our favorite shows are like the favorite songs of mine are songs that I could hear being played in a stadium and thousands of people singing those songs.
Sure.
So when you listen to the record, I want you to think I could see this band in a stadium with 1,000 people singing the songs. That was the feel for the record. And hopefully we accomplished that.
Yeah. And there's a lot of ways of going about that, right?
Yeah.
Like Dan just very eloquently talked about, you know, melodies, but one thing I always try and remind artists of when they're new is like, keep it simple.
Yeah.
That anthemic thing you're talking about is all about like, once the listener hears it once, are they going to be able to sing along on chorus number 2? You know, is it catchy enough? Is it like, okay, I get it?
or like the person who isn't involved in music at all, like are they gonna get it?
You know, there you go. Yeah,
is the radio listener? Not that we're going for radio, but is the person who just listens to music and doesn't understand? Oh, they're doing those notes or those chords, like who's actually gonna be able to sing these songs and like these songs? That's what we're going for.
Although I agree with you guys, I don't think about that stuff. I don't think about, when I'm writing a song, I don't think about, is the person going to be able to sing on chorus 2? I don't. And like although that stuff is absolute catchiness and being able to connect to an audience, obviously that's why we're doing this. But I feel that if you have a new artist, that's not something that I would say to them. I might, maybe I'd mention it, but I don't think, like, because I know my progression as a songwriter, and I know how hard it is, especially with so many influences, and how many people have said their 2 cents on what we, the Faceplants, and what I should do. So it's like, I feel that if you as a songwriter feel like you want to write a 6-minute song and you feel that that's the best song in the world, then that song is that everyone's going to have an opinion. But like that song to you is like the best song, and like that is what's going to get you fired up. Like that is what's going to get, like, dude, I just wrote this amazing, and like you like, oh, that's pretty good, dude, I don't know about that. But like that is going to make that artist and songwriter pumped to write the next one. And then through time, they're just going to get better. You know, they're just going to get better. Now, of course, you have to put some sort of, structure to it. Yeah. Obviously. But as I've just seen a lot of other songwriters fall into the trap of just, and not maybe, and if that's what they want, I shouldn't even say trap, but because I'd be judgy at that point. But like, I've seen just a lot of songwriters fall down that path of like, let's chase something, let's try to hit, and then when that thing doesn't happen, inevitably, a lot of the time, it's like, oh, I don't really know what to do now. I don't really, like building, like, and I just speak from, I'm not speaking from a place of like judging. I'm speaking of a place literally of experience. Sure. Being like, I know how hard how long it takes and the work that needs to be done in that circumstance to find your own voice. And Garrett brought up a point where he's like, yeah, I mean, like, you should find your own voice. And when I hear artists talk about that in interviews, it seems like the easiest. I mean, of course you need to find your own identity, but like everybody on this street is an artist, and everybody is like, it is so. And you open your phone, and everybody's an artist. So it's easy to say, but very hard to do. And I think the magic happens when the person is you're locked away, and you're writing the stuff that you are absolutely stoked on. And no matter if it takes 6 months, 3 years, 6 years, 10 years to get that voice, that is more important, I think.
The journey. You're talking about the journey rather than how can I make a hit, and if it doesn't turn out to be a hit, then I've missed the mark because I missed that whole process in between of enjoying the process of making music 100%. And being creative along the way.
If you look at like, even though like, it's kind of weird because like you being yourself might not make you the hit, but if you look at the biggest hits in the last like 20 or like 10 years, the people who weren't trying to make the hit made the hit.
Yeah, there are a lot of them are accidents.
I mean? Like the Billie Eilish thing, like, you know, like that, like her new song. What's it called? Bad something?
Yeah, Bad Guy.
Bad Guy? Like that, like on huge. Any means weren't like, that's gonna nail like those things. That's the form. Or like this was a couple years ago, but the big Macklemore stuff, like that guy wasn't expecting that album to blow up,
home run, right?
But all of a sudden it does, and like you think of, I'm blanking now, but there's so many, like Imagine Dragons and stuff like that. They had that big song Radioactive, which sounded like nothing going on right now, and those are the songs that kill it because it's a good song and it doesn't sound like anything else you've heard. Like, it's weird. They're like, is no book for it.
There's no rule book, dude.
There's no book.
No, forget that. But the story of, I hate bringing this up, but the biggest song of all time, the Old Town Road, like the story of how that guy wrote that, like someone was telling it to me the other day, like he apparently just like found some beat on YouTube, or not YouTube, SoundClick or something like that.
He bought a beat off some guy.
Yeah, it was just like let's try this. We make another song, and then the entire world resonated with that at that moment, and it's just like all the stars have to align sometimes. There's it's not just like a rule book for writing a hit. It's there's so many ingredients. It's a mystery still, I think. I don't know. Like
and there's a lot of people that try and package it and sell it and like hold seminars of like, I have the answer, I have the secret.
Yeah.
And it's just it's
like, okay,
gross.
The Anthony Robbins of hit writing, right?
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
Yeah, it's strange, man. And most of the people that you ask with those hit songs are like, we didn't know it was going to be a hit. You know what I mean? Honestly, 90% of people were like, we didn't know that was going to be a hit.
Yeah. Where does like we talked about lyrics and stuff, but where does guitar playing fit into all this? Like, what's on your mind when the song's coming together and, you know?
Good question, man. I don't necessarily even think of it from a guitar standpoint. I think of it from like a musical standpoint of like, what can I do that's going to service the song? Like, I never want to be like, here's a song by the Faceplants and there's Garrett on guitar. Like, no, it's got to be, this is the Faceplants, you know what I mean? Like I'm not, for example, like the easiest thing to say is I'm not doing a guitar solo just to do a guitar solo, you know? If it doesn't suit the song to the best of its abilities, I don't want it in the song, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like from a musical standpoint of like Animals, the first track off of Animalistic, and there's a lot of guitar stuff in there. What isn't maybe a flashy, but it's setting a vibe. So like when Daniel comes up with a song and it's got this lyrical content on it, or it's got this vibe or this tribal thing, it's like, what guitar parts can I add to this song that creates that vibe or that energy or that emotion or the feeling? It's more for me a feeling than a part. Most of my guitar stuff I do. Or like you said, the anthemic thing. Like, how do I make it anthemic? Well, let's do a wall of guitars at that chorus to make sure it hits as hard as it can. You know, it's more stuff like that. That's what I think of. Not necessarily a guitar part, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, maybe if you do have a moment for a solo, you know, but yeah, for the most part, it sounds like it's just you've got the record in mind, the big picture, like
exactly,
not standing out too much, but serving
it's like
the purpose.
We always say like we're all in the same boat. You know what I mean? So like we all need to work as a team to make sure that all of our parts serve the song to the best of its abilities. Right. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want to be throwing a bass line over top of the chorus just to show that I'm the best bass player in town. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense.
And do you guys feel like, I know you've had, since I saw you last, that you've had some band member changes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that I'm curious about, because I don't get to talk to a lot of bands. It's a lot of singers and R&B artists that I've had on the show and stuff, so that there's not really like a team where they've got to deal with personalities and egos and stuff. Like, would you guys say that is like something that you deal with regularly? Like, do you guys get into fights? Like, are you comfortable talking about that? Like, are there band beefs? Cool, is it
Yeah, man.
How do you guys get through that?
I think we used to a little bit back in the day, but do you want to like really nip that in the butt? Is going on tour and being in a van with each other for like a month straight. Yes. You know, you start to realize what pushes certain people's buttons. You realize, you know, what jokes you can make, what jokes you don't want to make. You don't screw around with people when they're sleeping. You know what I mean? You don't screw around with their food, you know, stuff like that. But even from again, like we've been doing this for a while. Like Daniel, that comes very easy to us because we've been best friends for a long time. But like some of the other guys, to be honest, we just have a lot of level-headed guys in our band and smart guys and who are good players and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, we're all here for a common reason. You know what I mean? Like we have fun all the time. And that's the important thing too. Like as much as getting your A team together of, okay, this guy's the best piano player I know, this guy's the best bass player I know, this guy's an amazing singer. It's also about like, who's your friends? You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like if you're at each other's throats 24/7, like, is it really going to work out? You know what I mean? Like if you want this to be your career and you want to be all putting 40 hours a week into this, do you want to be in a room with guys that you hate, but they're good at their instrument? Like, it's more than just
it's got to be, you know what I mean? Chemistry is key, right? Like, you can't compromise that, it sounds like.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, it's cliche, but it is a marriage, man. Like,
it's like being married to four other people.
It is.
Literally,
There's a reason why, like, all of the legacy bands, like, they hate each other. Like, you know, it's definitely tough. Like, of course it is. Like, we're all different people, and you know, with different skill sets. And like I'll say this, like a big thing, especially me, like learning and understanding, again, going back to like the past 2 years, especially because as you know, it's hard enough being like a solo artist, but like let alone being in a band. And when you have 5 guys in the band, it's obviously it's way more than just playing your instrument. You have to possess so many other skills that it weeds mostly everybody out. Like going back to what you said, like this isn't for everybody. It like obviously really isn't, and it takes a certain kind of crazy person to want to do this for a living.
Everybody's crazy.
And like it's insane, right? So a big problem for me was, I would get frustrated, man, when I would be like, you know, and as a leader, it's like, why are, you know, member whoever, like, why aren't you doing this? Like, maybe I would get frustrated, and this is like real shit, right? And so like I want to talk about it. It's like, it's like I would get frustrated and like pent up and like resentful if I think somebody else couldn't do a job that I do so well.
Right.
So like if somebody else isn't good at writing emails, I'd be like, well, why didn't you write this email? Like, you know, when that same person would be like, should I put a subject in like the line of the email? It's like, yeah, you should. But it's like, I had to come to terms as like as a leader and as a man being like, okay, the best thing to do here in this situation, and any team obviously, is make sure communication, and any relationship, dude, like communication has to be key, number one. And then secondly, how to maximize everybody's individual talents and kind of styles of working. Like what are they good at? Let's identify that. What is Max good at? Okay, you're good at production, all that. Okay, you're gonna be that guy. We're gonna. You don't expect me to do, you know, that. I'll do something else, because it goes back to like to make this whole thing work. You have to be a jack of all trades. You have to. So you have to be able to possess kind of it all in some, you know, obviously semblance, but going to answer, that's kind of a, you know, a little anecdote to
what's
the dynamic.
What's one thing that you guys think everyone in the band does well? Like obviously you're the guitar player, you're the lead singer, you've got the piano players, the bass players. Like, what is there one thing that you guys would say like you all have a special skill, or like what do you all bring to the table that makes you the Faceplants? Like what?
I got one. What do you think?
No, go ahead. Yeah, it's all you.
I think we're performers.
Performing the live game. There you go.
Yeah, the live game. I think there's a certain aspect of our band, like Daniel said, or like even you mentioned, you got to build your A team. Who's the best fit for what jobs? But there's one thing that whenever we play live, I don't think I've ever left the stage being like, we haven't given it what we got. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I really try every time we go on a stage to give it 110%, because I want to make sure that person in the audience is getting what they paid for and are leaving this show knowing our band name. Yeah. Because I only got this one shot. Yeah. Because I bet you've gone to a concert or seen somebody live and you weren't expecting it and somebody blew you away. And now you're like a diehard fan from that. I want that to be a thing. Like I want to make sure that person leaves and says, "Who the fuck were the Faceplants?"
Yeah, amazing.
like I was there for the headlining band. They were opening up, but like, holy smokes,
these guys came out of fucking left field and blew me away.
And kind of what we were talking about, like the anthemic album kind of theme to it. I want you to come to a 250 person club and be like, did I just see a stadium show? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want it to be that effect almost. Yeah, so I think that is something that we all come together at and kind of, I don't know, I think we just pull it off pretty well. Yeah.
You would agree with that, Dan?
100%.
Good assessment.
I think like that is where we kind of started as a band. Before we were like confident in songwriting or any of these other skills I think that we possess. That was the first thing that we honed in, like booking the tours and then like literally playing every kind of show possible and like feeling those kind of emotions. So and also too, for myself, you know, we understood what the dynamic was like to be in a band on stage, perform, engage a crowd, even if there's fucking 2 people there, whatever. The bartender, put your hands up.
Bartender, sound guy.
Let's go. Yeah. But not
the headlining band.
But like, even for myself, like that's the road is where I learned how to be a singer. Like, I did throughout middle school, high school. Not elementary, middle school and high school. I did like the vocal jazz, concert choir, all that kind of stuff. I was like the band kid, right? And like that was great. That was great. It was like free vocal lessons every single day. And after I went straight from high school right to Nimbus, and then after Nimbus, like right to the road. And so even though I'm like with myself and like singing every day and I don't really see the progression, I look in the back, like our old stuff, even 2-3 years ago, I'm like, wow, I've come a long ways as a singer and I can hear myself. It's just by like singing, it's by, again, like communication with yourself, like singing, having to do 4 shows in a row. And then after the first show being like, oh shit, like after the show, I'll be like, oh, I just sang a half-hour set and I feel like complete garb. What did I do? Okay, I did something obviously wrong. So then the next show, assessing that, okay, don't try to make, okay, maybe I blew my voice out. Maybe I went too hard on the opening song. Or maybe when I know I have the high note in Devil in a White Dress, I didn't take enough breath on that. Okay. So I'm like performing and like, I'm so thankful, dude, that we went on the road at such a young age.
Yeah, me
because
too.
like we learned so, and this is just like scraping the surface of like at a young age, like being able to be like 18, 19, 20 and going on the road, like booking a tour and like dealing with sound people and like
trying to make money, like trying to survive, breaking down vans and shit. Yeah.
So like, so I've had people come up and be like, so like, who's your vocal teacher? Who have you learned how to sing? And I've always just said that, and then being like playing 5 shows in a row and be like, that was great. I feel let's do a 6th. Like I've been there too. I've been there too. Let's do another set tonight. I don't care. Let's do it. But it is just like the overlying or like the main theme here in the Faceplants timeline and career has just been doing, like trying and doing. And then all of our successes as well have been by asking, and doing. So it's you're going to not, if you do and quote unquote fail, you're going to learn. If you ask, the worst it's going to be is no. And if you just keep sticking to that,
that's a great attitude. That's been huge for us. Is like, it sounds weird, but we're okay with failures, like because it's all gonna happen. Like you'll hit a certain point. Like I remember us, like when we're young, we were trying to get on all these. Actually, not even young. A couple years ago, we were at the point where like, man, we've been on tours, releasing records, like. We were trying to get opening slots for bigger bands, right? Sure. And we're like, we're getting all these no's. We're getting no here, no there, no there. And we're really bummed out. We're like, what are we doing wrong?
Right.
All of a sudden this year, we opened up for so many people. And it was all of a sudden like in the first, 6 years of the Faceplants, opened up for no big artists. This year we had a huge amount of opening slots.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I don't even know what it was.
You still don't know the reason, or
I think it's just time and becoming a better band and persistence, and it's I guess keep on releasing good music. You know what I mean, and building your presence and building your story. I think you have to be a band that you have a story. Yeah, you have to come from somewhere. You know what I mean. You have to say we went on a road when we were 19 and 20, and we did this and we did this. You have to be unique again. You have to be yourself. I think, and I think when we weren't getting those slots and stuff like that, I honestly, maybe just looking back, we just probably weren't ready and we just didn't know it. You know what I mean? And
in retrospect, maybe that was okay, because had you had the right spotlight and not shined, it might have been detrimental. People you might have been exposed.
Yeah.
Like
I feel that too.
Yeah. Getting a gig you're not ready for and just really all your flaws coming out. Yeah. And that could ruin you, like getting a mixing gig maybe when you aren't really ready for a big client, and then they're like, the label's like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, never calling him again. So
it's actually, that's like super, you're right on point with that. There was a moment, and I don't want to brag, I don't want to feel like
please do. This is why I brought you in.
No, but so like we played a really cool show this summer. We opened up for Snoop Dogg this summer, and Sublime with Rome and stuff like that over on the island, and that was our first real deal show. And this was the first show that I was actually really nervous for. And I think you were nervous. Like we had a conversation about, like we get like, you get anxious, but we've played enough shows that it's muscle memory now. Like you
guys are road dogs.
You're not gonna screw up the guitar solo, bro. Yeah. So just chill out. You know what I mean? Like you got this. I could close my eyes and do the set now. Yeah. But it's nerve wracking because that was the first show that you realized that you're not just a local band no more. You're literally on the same stage as guys that are big around international artists. And now you are getting compared to these legends, dude. And like now you're getting compared to the big leagues. So you better step up or else you're getting pushed aside, bro.
Yeah, man.
And this is your opportunity where you're playing to thousands of people. And if you're not on point now, when are you going to be on point? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah.
So like that was the one show that we were really kind of... Well, we weren't super nervous, but like right before I was like,
it was a bit of a reality check then.
Yeah,
hey?
But it was good because we needed that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's just it's part of our story of growing up and being in a band. You know what I mean? It's just like that was a moment where it's like, okay, I know we were really doing this now. Wow. You know what I mean?
Where was this?
Let me think. June 30th. It was at Lake Town. Yeah, I remember. Lake Town Rock.
It's on the wall.
Yeah. It was on the island over in
Vancouver Island?
Yeah, Lake Cowichan. That's what it was.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So like there was so many bands on it. It was like Sublime with Rome, Snoop Dogg, Grandson, Smash Mouth.
Dude, it was crazy.
Incubus. I think those were the big ones.
To another point, I don't know who brought it up, but it was like a big detriment to us in the past too. And like this is stuff that whoever's listening to this like will absolutely relate to. And like just let you know that you're not alone in this. So a big detriment to us was just wanting it so badly. So I knew that so we've had the opportunity to through the years perform for different agents and stuff like that. And we just weren't ready. Like we just weren't ready. But almost like seeing the world through like the rose-colored glasses of being like, I just want it so badly. And then when it inevitably, you know, when you get the no or whatever, it's so crushing. But it's like it's only like this year where, you know, we were thrown into with the big boys, the fucking big dogs. And like we weren't, we weren't ready last year before, you know, and, you know, there was a moment watching Snoop Dogg. I was like looking at Garrett and like, how did we do this? Yeah. Like it's crazy. Yeah. Like it's unreal. Like we were just jamming Green Day songs in my garage and it's just wild, man.
But those are the moments though also that you have to take really seriously. But those are the moments though that you also have to have fun. You know what I mean? Because like us like being on the same stage, being the opening act, then after our set, watching Snoop Dogg play from side stage. Those are like we look at each other and we're like, dude, this is fucking crazy. Dude. Yeah. This is like my band. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like
be in the moment.
Yeah, be in the moment. You know what I mean? Like I really because I had troubles in the past that I take things very seriously, and sometimes it gets to me a little bit because like whenever we play shows, I want to make sure it's absolutely the best. And, and in the past when we were touring, I'd become maybe not negative, but I just took it a little bit too far. But now I've kind of dialed it back and said, hey, like we've practiced, we're going to be the best we can be. We have faith in our abilities. Let's go out there and perform the best of it. And if somebody messes up or what it is what it is. Yeah. Let's enjoy this moment because I'm going to look back 10 years from now, like this was the best time of my life. You know what I mean? Amazing. Like these cool things. These are the things that I'm going to show my kids when I'm older and be like, Dad was cool. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Dad did, right?
You know.
Do you spend any time watching like footage of yourself? Like you mentioned a little bit about how you're so proud of your live game and you know, it's something you really focus on. Do you ever watch film of yourself, like how you move on stage? Is that part of your working out, like as a band, rehearsing, like actually watching tape the way you would listen to a mix or something?
Yeah. I think it's actually really important. We don't do it for every show. Like now with everybody's got a cell phone and got Instagram. Normally after we have a show,
someone's got it.
Somebody filmed it. You know what I mean? We don't normally have somebody who comes out and like, yo, film the show.
Sure.
Like we just kind of watch clips and stuff like that. But to be honest, I kind of wish we actually did have somebody filming every show because that's how seriously I want to take it. Great. So that we can watch it.
Yeah.
But we used to do that a lot back in the day when we were on tour. We would set up a GoPro on top of the drummer, and we would literally play a show, get back to the motel or hotel or wherever we were staying at, maybe a friend's place, and we would rewatch the show and be like, what were you doing there? What were you doing there? Or Gary, maybe you were off point there, or you missed a drum fill there, or Daniel, that was an opportunity to take advantage of a B-side and get everybody singing, or there's some dead air there. Let's get people clapping, engaged, and all of a sudden the song kicks in and it's the same tempo. You know what I mean? Like, we did do that a lot back in the day, and that really helps. Because as much as you're giving it and performing and you're in the moment, you also have to do some studying. Just like you study other live acts when you see them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we totally do that. I think we should still do that more, but I think that is really important.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are so immersed in this. Like how much of your life does this take up? Is this like
his whole life?
This is
5 days a week.
Yeah, it's 5 days a week.
Yeah.
You guys
would be recording if we weren't here right now.
Yeah. Definitely, dude. Like, especially for me, if we're not like recording, like I've been with my girlfriend like 8 years, and even when we're, you know, together, most of, you know, a lot of our relationship is is like working on content for the band, or like like she's so creative, and like she is like my right hand. Like I'm so thankful to have her, because like she is such a help with like helping my ideas also come to life outside of the band. So it's like, even when we're together, like it's constant, right? So it's like I'm always thinking, like I'm sitting here, I'm like thinking of like, oh, those strip lights, okay, that's cool up there. How could we, you know, like, I'm always thinking of cool ways, either for the show, for songwriting. You know, I'm with Melissa, and I'll be like, I gotta go right now. I gotta go grab a guitar and like record this thing right now.
Right.
So whether it's not a thing that I don't think
you don't turn it off.
You can't.
You don't leave it, right? It's all consuming, 9 to 5.
I'm pretty sure you're probably like
24/7. I mean, yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. I think about mixes when I'm walking to the store. You know, how could I sidechain that kick and bass?
Totally.
And you're probably listening to the mix. You know,
I mix records in my head now.
Yeah.
I'm getting to the level now where I'm so obsessed, right?
You're putting the puzzle together.
Putting the pieces together, and it's just like sometimes it's hard to switch it off. You know, like if I'm not at the studio now, I have literally every piece of equipment I own is here now, and it's not at my home. My second bedroom, where I live with my wife, is a guest room now. So
can I stay over?
I try, of course. Yeah, I try and now like leave this and go home and eat dinner and look at each other, but it's still like it's tough, you know. It's like when you're a creative person so passionate about something, it's just it never leaves you. It's
okay. So something to say about that though, I do think it's important though to get an outside perspective, or sometimes that those moments that you're away from it, you're resting, you're giving your ears a break, and you are getting a new perspective of what you just worked on for the day. Like sometimes I'll like ask people who have nothing to do with music. Yeah. They don't know anything about music, and I'll just be like, "Do you like this song?" I won't even tell them it's our band. Yeah. Yeah. And I'd be like, "Do you like this song?" Like, I think it's okay. Or like, "Why do you think it's okay? What do you think it could?" Like I do it all the time. Yeah. That's great. Our band's recent single, I was asking like a family friend, 16-year-old girl, "Do you like this song?" Yeah. And like not even saying it's my band, just no info, just like tell me what you feel about this, like and give me some notes about it.
So valuable.
And it's so valuable. Oh my God, it's amazing how good of a producer a high school girl is, dude. like I'm not even joking. And you know what I mean? Like, oh, it's a little long, or like that second part, like it didn't really add anything, you know what I mean? And it's different too, not giving them the information that it's you, because then they tell what they honestly think.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. Those people don't have they're not trained to think the way we are. They're just coming from a place of pure emotion. How does this song make me feel? I'm hearing it for the very first time, and what's it doing to me right now? Not breaking it down and hearing the EQ and the reverb and all that, oh, your chorus should have come in at 30 seconds, but all that shit.
I get really bad at that sometimes. It's like, I'll be like, someone will be like, "Do you like this song?" I'd be like, "Oh yeah, that snare, the sample's really nice, or it's got that good top end on, or the vocal, it's really in your face." And be like, "Is it a good song?" Like, oh yeah. I kind of catch myself sometimes. I got to be careful about that.
Difficult to turn that part off. Yeah.
Especially when you're like mixing and like producing and stuff like that. It's hard to turn it off sometimes. So I like that. And you really can't turn it off, but I purposely try to take a little bit of breaks from it sometimes.
Oh hell yeah.
Like I do I go on bike rides a lot, and that's like kind of like my meditation.
Perfect.
Like I'll be like working on a song for 5 hours. I'm like, I just need to go for a bike ride for an hour. Yeah. Just to clear my mind, just get it fresh, give my ears a break, come back. Okay, let's regroup. Or
absolutely.
You know what I mean? That's important.
I do that all the time. So important. So important.
Yeah. Where do you get your inspiration from?
Professional gamers.
Yeah?
Yeah. Really? I get a lot of inspiration from professional gamers. For what I do as a mixer. Not as a creative person, but for the professionalism and the work ethic part. Watching professional gamers. I watch a lot of StarCraft, which they play in Korea. It's like their national sport. Really? And people, I think they get the wrong impression about professional video game players. They're, oh, you play video, what a loser. That's not difficult. You just get to sit all day long. No, the stories I hear about these guys and learning about them, watching their biographies and stuff. It's like to get to that top 1% level where you're like winning tournaments and you're the best in the world. Like whatever it is in the fucking world, you want to be a chef, you want to be a professional gamer, a top 10 mix engineer, like the level of commitment and the hours and the dedication. And I've really in the last few years started to really try and focus on stepping my game up, and watching those guys is super inspiring, honestly.
Well, it's literally like what you're just touching on there. It's really universal, you know what I mean? Because you think of a gamer, you think of a musician, right? Well, how many guys play guitar in the world? Well, how many guys are actually making a living off this?
That's what it is, Garrett. That's such a good point.
And it's like for video games, how many guys in the world play video games? But who's actually taking it really seriously and figured out, how can I make money off of this? How can I make a living? Because it's a different headspace.
It's like, how many of our friends are funny, but how many people are like comedians that are selling out arenas? 12 in the world. So like absolutely.
It's the headspace.
It's literally the headspace. It's getting in that the attitude towards it, the work ethic and the dedication, the headspace, all of that, man. So
it's like
I admire those guys.
I was talking to my buddies when we were camping once, and we were joking around, and they're like, I have a really good friend who's like phenomenal at guitar, but like he just plays guitar in his bedroom or whatever, and he's very good. And we were joking, and there was a bunch of guys that play. We all play guitar. There was about 6 of us. And I was probably, on a standpoint, from a shredding standpoint, probably one of the worst guys there, right? But they're like, but Garrett's the most successful. You know what I mean? But it's kind of funny because it's like, you don't have to be necessarily even like the best at it. But if you're working harder than the guy beside you, that's really all that counts. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, there's pros and cons to it, but it's just kind of, there's that perspective too to it.
Oh yeah, you hear that? Yeah. You hear that over and over. What is it? Hard work beats talent if talent doesn't work hard. Right.
There you go.
I think that was Will Smith that said that or something, but it's Smart so guy. True. It's like, and dude, nowhere is that more apparent for me than in the hip hop world. The guys that can actually rap on beat and have interesting lyrics and are creative aren't the hardest workers usually. They're usually just getting by on swag and talent, but it's the guys that are out there like handing out CDs in front of Fortune and, you know, putting up posters and constantly on Instagram and blasting shit in your face 24/7, but the talent levels maybe down here, they're still getting noticed more at the end of the day. Yeah. And that, I don't know. That's not fair. I don't know. Is it fair? But it's a real fucking slap in the face for people that, you know, don't see it that way. It's like, no, that's the formula, guys. It just is.
Again, there's no rules. You know what I mean? There's no book.
No. But it's not what you would expect, I guess. Yeah. What I would expect. But it's for sure the pattern is there. Let me tell you, man.
There's like a really good. I think I have it on my phone or something. There's like a really good saying that I see people post sometimes. Let me bring it up here. And it's kind of going off of what you're saying, which is just as important. Let me see if I can find it here. It's pretty much talking about like talent. And it's like showing up on time, having good attitude, work ethic. Oh yeah, it's right here. So it's like 10 things that require 0 talent. It's like being on time, making an effort, being high energy, having a positive attitude, being passionate, using good body language, being coachable, doing a little extra, being prepared, having a strong work ethic. It's all 10 things that you're going to do. If you do those things, you will succeed. It has nothing to do with your talent. You know what I mean? But it's true.
Exactly.
Like, you think of anybody who's like a professional at anything or doing what it's successful, they all have those attributes. That's even before your talent. You know what I mean?
Dude, it's like those are all things that you can control.
Exactly.
100%.
Yeah.
When you think about it. Talent, like Ray Charles was born. He didn't become, you know, like people like that, you know, Jimi Hendrix, like name any legend, right? Like that talent, that magic, that epicness is just given to you by nature, but then you have to have all those other things as well. And those other things are conscious decisions. They're not just, I don't just have this superpower.
Yeah, right? it's like Adele's voice. It's like I'm not gonna have Adele's voice. You know what I mean? Yeah. But she was aware. Wow, I have this, and probably worked very hard. You know, and it was more than just her voice that probably got her to be who she is. But you know what I mean? I've met people like that too. Just born gifted.
Yeah,
man.
So I get so excited when those people come through.
That's true.
Oh man, so any shows coming up? Like, I want to see you guys, man. It's been a while. Getting so great getting to hang out in person, but like
we just played.
You just like today or last night or
it was
what?
Friday.
Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was actually gonna hit you up, but I was like, I'll save it for the next one.
Well,
yeah,
the next one.
I should have.
Yeah.
We played one last Friday at the Fox Cabaret, opening up for a band called Honors.
Okay.
Then the Friday before that, we played a show too in Port Coquitlam. It was like a city thing. We played with a band called Favorite Drive. But yeah, so
I've heard of them. Yeah.
So yeah, we're keeping pretty busy with shows. We don't have any lined up to the end of the year. We're gonna be focusing on new music. Like Daniel's kind of said, we're taking a break kind of from even the social media and kind of not shutting things down, but we're just kind of trying to dial in and get into that creative zone again and put more of our focus towards the songs and get prepared for next year. It's kind of what we're gonna do.
And really, like, I think for me at least, it's like I am either like not in or like 100% in on something. And so, you know, we're at this kind of incredible moment. You know, it's like we released our record. Now we're trying to catch the new vibe and like just figuring out, I want to figure out what I want to say for this next bunch of songs. Cause that really, like, honestly, dude, like, and I honestly respect everybody else's writing, tendencies and how they do their thing. But for me, I need to absolutely feel something with every song that I write in order for me to even want to release it. Like I that needs to come first, and that process, however long it takes, like that's the feeling I want to chase every single time I write a song, because I'm like a really emotional person, and I asked you like where, you know, your inspiration comes from, and because I was like, you know, really thinking about that question, and for me it's experience, really. Whether that's like going on a 2-week trip to Disney World with my girlfriend, or going on tour, or whatever, you know, I try not to eat at the same places. You know, Gary, on the way here, we're talking about like our favorite restaurants in Vancouver, and I said like I go to this sushi place, General Public, every single time. But like when it comes to, I like to try, when I go to a new city. Gary and I spent a lot of time in New York last year. Like I like to go out and experience the new places for coffee or places for food.
Like the local spots or something like that. Yeah,
it's those things that kind of feed my emotions and inspire me to kind of put pen to paper and sing about stuff that really matters to me. And I don't think I would have gotten there. I maybe eventually, but the Animalistic was definitely the kick open of the door of discovering that part of myself and relaying that kind of to the band. And so I'm either not in or 100% in. I've always been like that, and I think I'll always be like that. So in order to write these next group of songs that I know that are going to have to, and I have a lot to say in that I want to put down in song, but like that's the reason why I don't want to focus on social. I don't want to focus on Instagram collaborations. I don't want to, you know, that stuff can. I'd rather go dark, write the best shit. I feel that we already possess so many skills as far as marketing goes that when it's time to pop up, you know, we're going to be in your face, you know, like whether you like it or not kind of thing. And and in order to write that best music, it's like I feel like you need to shut everything else out, man. And just do that, to the best of your ability. And I think you're going to get there by shutting out all the crazy noise of this world.
Yeah. Yeah. Get leaving space to like soak things up, like to place for new inspiration to come in. I always found when I used to write that if the songs that were about things that had happened to me, or where it wasn't like me imagining a scenario, but it was like, let me tell a perspective about something that actually went down, like those songs just wrote themselves almost. And those were the songs that I got the best feedback about. Yeah. You know, when I was telling a story or it was about someone I knew, it wasn't like I wasn't trying to be somebody. I was just like, here's an angle of my life, something that I actually went through. I think that's what you're trying to say.
100%. Right? Yeah. because no matter what, then it's absolutely unique to you.
Exactly.
Like, 100%. And like we can talk about production styles and making the chorus hit at 30 seconds. Like we can talk tactics all day, but it comes down to like the real emotion of the song. It's like writing from, at least for me, writing from my heart, a place, you know, that no one else can kind of speak from, is a really magical thing. And I'm not delusional to think that everyone's going to like it too. Like I don't expect everybody to brush their teeth animalistic, you know, like it's not everybody's cup of tea. And at the end of the day, I'm completely 100% cool with that. 100% cool with that. Because it's going to touch, because it's unique and it's going to touch the people that it needs to touch. And at the end of the day, that's like all, then it's our job to make sure that we have a one-on-one relationship with those people and build our own thing. And if we never have a quote unquote like top 40, I don't even care, dude. I just care about writing the music we want to write, and then making sure that the people that feel that same way, you feel like we're connected and that we have our own kind of thing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
When you guys are putting together a project like Animalistic, is there an editing process at the end where you've got way more songs than you need and then you're narrowing it down, or are you kind of shooting for a specific number, like, hey, we want to do an album this kind of length, or we're going to do like a double disc album this time, like, or does it just happen along the way? Like how does that work?
So I think for like a lot of bands, that is the way they do it. Like maybe you'll record 20 songs but only 12 make the record. For us, because it was our debut album, and to be honest, like money was a factor of it too. Like maybe if we had the budget and everything, and maybe we were on a record label or something, we could have done something like that. But being from our debut record, we actually toured all those songs years before they were actually recorded. So just from touring and people's perspective of us playing it live and going back in rehearsals and practicing it, we kind of did dwindle down from like 15 songs to I think it's 9 on it or something like that. Yeah. Like we kind of did that in, you could say it was pre-production. You know what I mean?
Okay.
We kind of had those songs ready and we said, okay, well, what's really going to fit this? And I think a couple of them weren't, I think while we were actually recording it, 2 of them made it onto the record that we thought these were stronger than the other ones that we were going to record. We hadn't recorded the other ones yet, but like we're just like, I don't know, like guys, I have a feeling about this song. It's going to be amazing. And I think that was Unholy, and it was Portrait of a Woman. And Unholy is our biggest song we've ever done. It was just, we had never played that song live. We just had a feeling of it. Like, this is cool. This is territory that we haven't done before. Even when we released it, we didn't know, like, you know, obviously it's not a hit song, but it kind of goes back to what we were saying. Like, it's kind of a weird song. Like, it's got a big long intro to it. It's got kind of like a Queen-esque intro to it.
I love that part, by the way.
And it's really epic, you know what I mean? And we're like, this doesn't really sound like anything. And I'm like, that's exactly why it needs to be on the record. You know what I mean?
It's got so many parts.
You hear that and you're like, that's a Faceplant song. And, you know, so that's kind of how we did the record, you know what I mean? It kind of went off of what you were saying. But yeah, we kind of had it beforehand, but it was because of from touring and experience, we did cut it down. Probably for the next one, like we already have the goal of, I don't know how many songs are going to be on our next record, but like we have a goal of, we want to be writing 15 good songs that we're happy with before the end of the year. Then we'll see what happens from there. Maybe when we go to actually record that record, we're still writing, you know what I mean? And maybe some of those songs won't make it, or maybe it becomes the EP, or maybe like who knows, right? Like
And from my perspective, I don't really think about things like that. I kind of whether it's the maybe we can touch on it too, like whether it's the billboard, the Times Square, like I tried, or like doing a music video or anything like that. I try to think of like the end goal and then like reverse it, and then try to get the steps to make that thing happen. So even with the record, dude. So like when I was writing those songs and like writing the lyrics and like we're putting this thing together and I'm thinking of the record, like I had an idea almost like 2 years before we released it of like the idea of a concept record and the idea of having something that is unique to us like that. That is not just that is not just like random song album out, but like the idea of like a concept really, really excited me. And that's something that we're taking to, I'm definitely taking for the writing of this next project. And I'm thinking about that now. So like we're back in that kind of stage.
Right.
And something John Mayer said, I don't know, in an interview or something, and I thought was like really, really I related a lot to it. He's like, he looks at every project as if it were his debut, and like this is my first record. Okay, well, he's released a bunch, but you know, he approaches it like it's his debut every single time, and I'm like, that is so true, and because this next record that we're going to be releasing, however you want to categorize an album or an EP, whatever, it's going to be completely different than Animalistic. It's going to be the same as far as the tone and what it's, the sentiment behind it, because it's coming from us. But I want to take it in. The sentiment is the same, and the idea of a concept is the same. So when we're putting Animalistic together, I came up with that 3-line logo that is now kind of synonymous with the Faceplants, and that was kind of the Animalistic logo.
Okay.
So I wanted those 3 lines to represent 3 distinctive moods on the record. So like the first song is The Awakening, is like the big intro to the record. Then Graham has a piano solo called The Reflection in the middle, and then at the end all the songs kind of tie in together. And it's The Awakening, The Reflection, and The Journey. So it's front, middle, and or beginning, middle, and end. And those little things excite me. And you know, some people pick it up, some people don't. People experience music and take in music in different ways, and that's cool. But it's like those little things on top of the songs that really excite me as a songwriter and as a creative. Like on my Instagram bio, my first thing, it says like consumed by creativity, and it's like the absolute truth.
Right.
So it's like I am thinking now for this next collection of songs, I'm writing, but I'm also thinking of like the meaning and the whole grandiose idea behind it, and then the marketing behind it, and like everything that's going to go into this record. And like I'm like, and you know, this whole craziness thing I'm talking about was the whole idea behind Animalistic, and the last song on Animalistic is called Sweet Living Sickness. And going back to the thing of like not being able to shut it off.
Yeah.
Like live my life for the past 8 years, like in love with music and in love like with, you know, my girlfriend and figuring out the dynamic of the band and home life, and music is, creativity is my sweet living sickness. You know, so
I see.
That's what that whole last song is about, and the whole record is about that too. So I don't know where I started.
Yeah. Well, no, it's amazing. Like it's not just a collection of songs, but there's themes.
Yeah.
It
means something more to me.
Yeah. Yeah. You've like masterminded the whole thing to be so much more than, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, you know, there's like,
and I think back to like the albums that really like touched me when I was growing up, and most of those albums there's more of a thought process to it.
Okay.
You know, it's like you listen to the whole record. You just don't, well, nowadays everything's single based, but like my favorite musical moments of growing up and what really influenced me were actually full albums, like hearing Linkin Park's Hybrid
start to
for the
finish,
first time.
right?
Start to finish.
Yes, I know
like
what you mean.
hearing some of the Offspring albums, listening to Green Day, American Idiot, like those were masterpieces. And it wasn't just like, I love the single. It was like, no, I love every song about that. And I remember every song that transitions into the next song, dude.
I know exactly what you mean.
So
dude.
it's and as much as the world's a single bass thing, I think people really care about that stuff. And I think if the artist is willing to dive a little bit deeper into who they are and their personalities and the ideas they make for their album, I think your fans are willing to dive deeper into you. You know, if you see like cult fan bases and stuff like that, of like maybe they aren't the biggest artists in the world, but maybe they can play to 1,000 people anywhere in the world. A lot of those people are really digging deep into the artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Know every fact about the artist, or know the hidden meanings and stuff like that. And that's kind of what really intrigues me about artists. You know what I mean? It's something where it's a full body of work. You know what I mean? It's not just a static idea. It's, no, I spent time, I thought about this. This is my life. You can tell that they've connected these songs, or it's a certain way, and it's like the whole thing's got like a kind of a overall theme. Like that just really excites me. And you know, it's just more than a song. It's like there's a lot of thought process into this.
And like with just to kind of put a bow on that, at least it's like, to the people, like obviously we're living in like a single world now, you know, like obviously, but and to all the people out there that just want to just release a single or release like a not just song, call it an album, then like absolutely bravo, and I applaud you. But it's just going back to the identity thing. I just know myself at this point, and like very self-aware, and I just know what kind of excites me, and I know what excites us to get us kind of in the like. I'm huge into comedy too, like huge. And one of my favorite comedians, Doug Stanhope, says that people are like, and he was talking about podcasts. He's saying that like, you know. Okay, like growing up, I also listened to like radio, right? So like Howard Stern and Opie and Anthony, and like there was in New York, it was, you know, who's number one in the ratings, okay? And that was huge. But Doug Stanhope said, and it's so true, it's like people now, it's not a competition. It's that people are into what they're into. So it's like Demo to Limo is not in competition with whomever, like Rogan. Like it's just people are into what you're doing. People are into what he's doing.
Yeah.
There's going to be people that want that single pop every once in a while. They're going to want that whatever, but there's also going to be people that are going to want that record with the fucking liner notes, and there's going to be people. There's an audience. There's so many different audiences, and so it's cliche to say now. There's so much room for everybody. It's so true though. Yeah. And so if we can just carve out, that's been ever since writing Animalistic, that has been our idea. If we can write the music we want to write and carve out our own fan base, we may not be able to sell out Rogers Arena everywhere we go.
Right.
But maybe we can sell it to Vogue across the world. Maybe we can sell out the clubs across the world. And if we are writing, and we're proud and excited about the music that we're writing, and we're privileged enough to have the people, and blessed enough to have the people sing those lyrics back, or wear the jackets that we create and have the 3-line logo on the back, then like, what more do you want? So there is room for everybody, and so it's just a toxic thing, I think, comparing yourself to other people, because people just want different things.
People are allowed to like more than one thing. Yeah, you know, it's like I don't just eat bananas. I have like a range diet, and it's like I don't just consume the Faceplants. I also like such and such. But it's so, like you said, it's so important, even more so than to be yourself, because then you are that one thing to those people. You know, they go to you because you are you, but they're still allowed to go to other bands and other things for other reasons, because they offer their own unique thing as well, right?
Yeah.
No one's a fan of one comedian, one rapper, one this, right? So I like how you said that.
Yeah, man. It's just the truth. We're obviously, again, cliche. We're in a different time.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's true. I'm just a huge proponent of just figuring out what your thing is, and then just doing, staying the course and doing that. And again, you're gonna hear so many opinions, but just stay the course. You know, for the love of God, stay the course.
Since you guys have been doing this, you know, a long time, you've learned so much. It's been such an evolution for you. Tremendous growth, new band members, album, all these videos. Is there one thing for each of you that you're like most proud of, that you would say like, no, that just stands out for me along the journey? Like, do you guys have one thing?
I don't know if there's one thing. I think there's a couple things, but you know, honestly, as much as being on a billboard's cool, or opening up for Snoop Dogg and stuff like that, just having a body of work that you're proud of is the most important thing to me.
Okay.
Having you say, I listen to Animalistic while I brush my teeth.
Yeah.
I fucking love that, dude. Like, honestly, because like we've done records or released songs in the past, like when we were younger, that I'm like, you know, like I wasn't embarrassed, but like I wouldn't show this to everybody. But now I'm like, you want to hear my band? Animalistic.
Yeah.
Like I'm so proud of it.
You can put that out there with no hesitation.
I could show it to anybody, and I'm so proud of it. I'm like, this is where we're at. This is my band.
Amazing.
Somebody says like, Garrett, what does your band sound like? Check it out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, just listen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to give you the pitch. Just listen. Tell me what you think. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. It's honestly the same for me. Like,
sure.
It's, our absolute biggest accomplishment, and to see it on a small level come to fruition in the sense of building our own thing, because like music is just the kind of the first step. Like music is I want the music to capture the people, but like let that be the door open the door to like the Faceplants world. And like, I'm passionate about so many other things than music, like, creative things. And I want to be able to, like, if we're going to make our own, like we were lucky enough to team up with the brewery this year, but, and release our own beer. But like, I want to be able to create our own beer one day, if that's what our fans like and would be interested in. Like, Hansen's one of my favorite bands of all time. And they've just been able to be so consistent, blessed to have a couple hits at an extremely young age, but then be able to like just again write that music that they want to write, and then have such a tight knit relationship with their fans that they release a coffee, they release a beer, and they were able to reach out to their fans and be able to give them what they think they want. And that's the beauty again of social media, to have the access. And like going into when releasing Animalistic, we made sure that we hit on the two most important assets at that time, 2018, which I think still remain relevant today, is access and time, like documenting our journey and showing the fans the in-depth behind the scenes, and also the replying to every comment, giving fans our time.
Yeah, it's really important too.
So, engagement, yeah.
So when I see the most, you're saying about like what are we most proud of, seeing YouTube comments of like, not just like, this is great, I love this track, this is a bop, but like whatever, like those, that's great. But like seeing like the in-depth paragraphs of like that's the stuff that like brings me to tears, of being like wow,
right,
what, like that's unbelievable, and not letting that get to your head or whatever. And so I'm so proud of that, to see a fan base grow, even on a small level, our own thing grow, even just a little bit, because I'm like, we just need to do that, just keep going, just keep going with that.
The coolest moment actually I think we've ever had in our band is we did our album release party last year at the Fox Cabaret, and we have a song called Who I Am side, and there's a breakdown chorus in it right before the big finish chorus, and at that moment everybody was singing the lyrics to it. It was louder than our band.
Oh wow.
And I was like, that was the first time we've ever really had, like, we've had people singing lyrics and you can kind of hear them and stuff like that, but that was the first time where it was like over 100 people singing.
You could have shut your mics off and
like literally. I think we kind of did. Like, I think Daniel, it was just kind of piano and vocal at that point. I think Daniel kind of like stopped singing a little bit, and it was really cool. That's unreal. Man. Yeah. That's that. Like, I hold that moment whenever I think, oh, I'm feeling tired today, or like I'm feeling a little bit lazy, or I need a break. I think of that moment and say, do you want to feel that again?
Wow.
Do you want to, do you want that every day? You know what I mean? Like, and that's what really
made you really connected. You really made an
exactly. Impact. I literally always think of that moment. I'm like, that was the coolest thing I've ever done in my life. And it wasn't me, it was everybody else doing it, what I mean? Like sure, we wrote the song or something, but it's weird being like, Daniel wrote that song, but it's like we lived with that song and played it, or we did we did the guitars. Like, we've been playing that song for 3 years, and it was our song, but seeing it released, it's not your song anymore, it's their song. You know what I mean? Which is kind of strange, but it's cool at the same time. And maybe Daniel has his own own meaning behind what that song is to him, or what inspired him to write that song, but everybody else's is different, right? You know what I mean? Like, there's tons of songs that I listen to where I think the meaning is one thing, then you hear an interview and it's like, actually a lot of artists, to be honest, won't even tell you what it's actually about, because they don't want you to know, because they want you to relate to it in your own head. Okay. Because if they know the real meaning,
they want to leave some mystery there for the fan to interpret
it. Exactly. Yeah. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that's probably going to stick with. That's going to be one for the kids, Garrett. I think for the grandkids even too.
If I make it that long.
That's really beautiful, man.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course. Yeah.
What was one thing in the last couple of years that changed your thoughts about music, or changed you as a producer or engineer? Like, what was like a turning point where you're like, what's a epiphany moment almost for you, that you're like, oh, this is starting to make sense for me, or like, this is what I really want to do? Or
geez, that's a great question. This journey that I've been on since Nimbus has been really engineering focused.
Yeah, okay.
I've really stepped away from Max DeShaw as the rapper, and realize that this I love as much or more than me writing songs and rapping and being on stage at Electric Owl or wherever it was.
We saw you at that show, by the way.
Places I've been.
I remember that.
So diving so deep into like being a mixer and engineering and realizing like the more that I learned, the more I realized I didn't know, and having all of these humbling experiences, really realizing like, you know, I'm way better than I was 15 years ago when I first picked up GarageBand, but Manny Marroquin is still like fucking way up here, you know, and it's like I have so far to go still, even though I've learned so much. So it's been a fascinating experience. I've fallen in love with mixing. It's my new passion, and it has been for, you know, since Nimbus, or even before that. That was where that transition started happening. And just deciding like that's what I want to be doing. I work here at 2-Track, and I also have a day job still. I work for Apple, and I love that, and that helps me pay the bills. But I made a conscious decision that like I want to be a world-class engineer. And it was just having inspiring moments, listening to my favorite songs, and then flipping through the liner notes and realizing like, there's a theme here. Like all my favorite songs are mixed by the same couple guys. Like I wonder if that's subconscious. Like, is there something more to mixing than just making it sound good? Is there actually like, there's actually something going on where the mixing engineer can actually reinforce what the band did and help trigger emotions with the tools they're using. So I've just been going down the rabbit hole, man, and it's just fascinating. So
dude, I love it.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. And then the podcast, trying to create more community in Vancouver with the podcast, and bringing everybody together. That was something I tried to do at Nimbus. I started a production company and it didn't work out, but I had the goal of like making a one-stop shop for artists, and you know, you can come here and we have a photographer and I'll do your mix and we can do all this, but that failed. And then without realizing it, I'm here now with that same thing, and this all happened without me planning it. Yeah, this team I have around me here at 2-Track is my production company that I tried to start 10 years ago. Cool. It just crept up on me, and it was like, wow, just by following my heart, you know, quote unquote, my passion, just being true to myself, doing what I love, being obsessed with it, working ridiculously hard, all those things fell into place, and I ended up where I needed to be, I think.
That's awesome, man.
I hope that answers your question.
That's great. I'm so happy for you, dude.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, man.
I was so stoked when like we started chatting. Yeah. Like wanted to do this. I'm like, man, I haven't seen Max in so long, and like it's so great to catch up on. Like, I get so excited whenever I see somebody that's like, you're kind of up on the, not that we're something now, but kind of you're on the come up with and stuff like that, and you can kind of relate to each other, and that's awesome, dude. Yeah. No, we're like, you know, seeing your peers succeed it gives me so much fuel, dude. I have friends who run a successful brewery, and just being an entrepreneur myself, I know like that level of hustle that it takes. So to see them succeed, it's just like, it's fuel for me. It's like, oh, you guys are doing it, I can do it too. Like, look at you, follow your passion. Look at you doing the damn thing. Like that's so great. You talked about like the gamers being like a big influence on you. It's like, when you're kind of doing like music or anything really, something that's like outside the box, and like it takes a lot of work to get into it. I have so much respect for like when I see like a pro skateboarder or like I see like Gordon Ramsay or like I love those guys, because I know it's not the same thing, but it is at the same time. It's like these guys have made careers off of something that they love, which is not a conventional way of working. No, like what 95% of the world isn't doing, they've done it and they've succeeded. Yeah. You know what I mean? I get really pumped up about that stuff. It's like, I love seeing people do their best. Yeah. I really do, man. I love like just seeing people be who they are and they're the best at it. You know what I mean? It really inspires me. Absolutely. That's one of the reasons I got into like watching mixed martial arts, just to see who was the best. I wanted to find out who was the best, like, you know, and just seeing excellence in any form, really, you know, whether it's, you know, Gordon Ramsay or a skateboarder, like, you know,
people at the peak of their craft. That shit gets me fired up, dude. And you know, the average person will look at that and you know, feel a bunch of ways, jealousy. Oh, look how easy it is for them, but they don't see those. They don't see the sacrifice and the dedication, the ridiculous amounts of hours, you know, which you guys know more, you know.
They don't see the demo part. I don't need to explain that
to you. Yeah, they don't see the demo. They just see the limo, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They just see the flashy lights and shit, but they don't see all the parties they skipped, the nights they were sober, the times they got up early.
Yeah, exactly.
All those things, you know.
Well, like no matter what it, like what you're saying, Garrett, like no matter what it is, Gordon Ramsay or Precious Skateboarders, whomever, the overlying theme, it's like everybody, all the people that you look at and like are inspired by aren't normal people. They all sacrificed so much and worked unbelievably hard. And yeah, like other than experience, and I'm talking like other people, like I think putting props to you for doing this podcast and like having the idea and wanting to put like a community together. You know, like we released our song Into the Wild, our latest single, and then we got a girl, I don't know where she lives, Edmonton, to remix it. Yeah. She's on the come up too. Like we didn't get like we didn't pay like we looked into like somebody to remix Into the Wild, right? And we were like talking with a bunch of people and we're looking at like, should we drop a bunch, $5,000, $6,000, like on the, should we? And we went with, you know, an acquaintance of ours, a girl who was a part of a band that we've toured or played shows with on tour and stuff. And she's doing her thing, her production thing. And she's really, really, really good. Not only production, but she's like super talented. And we're like, let's just work with her. And she threw us something back. We gave her any notes. And like what fires me up other than experience is like, yeah, other people doing their thing to the best of their ability. And also not micromanaging, but allowing them just to be themselves. Right. Like, this is what we wrote.
Yeah.
What would you do with this? And what she sent back, it's like, it was like incredible. And we had, you know, a minor couple notes, little tweaks, but I think, and if you're listening to this, it's like, it's so important to build the relationships with the other people around you that are quote unquote on the come up, because you don't know I don't know where Catherine Oblivion, who remixed our song, where she's going to be in 2, 5, 10 years. She's going to be the biggest artist in the world, man.
Right.
And I think instead of like focusing on trying to contact whomever who's quote unquote made it, it's like, yeah, looking around and supporting the other people and working with the other people that are on the come up just like you is like as important. Now, it's like it is more important, I think, than trying to outsource and trying to, you know, trying to pay that $10,000 to get whomever to
so that you can use it as a credit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There's like, and to be honest, I'm about to say a story. I don't even know if it's 100% true, but I don't know if it's 100% true.
Good way to start.
This is a good way to start. So I'm about to bullshit. But I heard this story about, it's like the Nickelback thing. So Nickelback's a Vancouver band, and apparently like the key to their success on Canadian radio was they would go to every radio station. So they'd be on tour, they'd be promoting a single, and they would go to every radio station. They'd go in and they would do an acoustic performance. They'd shake hands, they'd drop off cases of beer, they'd bring donuts, and basically try to be the nicest guys in the world and shake everybody's hands and be the best guys they could be and be really fun. And, you know, a lot of radio stations didn't pick them up because there were nobodies at the time. But what they did is they made a relationship with the guy who's the runner of the radio station or the guy who does the night show. Because eventually, if you do that to every radio station across Canada, in 3 years, a couple of those people are going to start moving up.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden, next time Nickelback's got a really good song and they're getting better too, you're gonna be like, you guys were the guys that were the nicest guys to me when I was nobody at that studio, when I was a volunteer, I was making no money. You still came in and shook my hand and gave me the time of day.
Yeah.
I'm supporting you. And eventually, it's a chain reaction. Eventually, everybody hits. You know what I mean? Like that.
Oh, yeah.
So like that's the important thing too, which like I don't think we've touched on, is something that we've seen in the last, you know, I guess you could say 6 months. It's been really apparent to us when opening up for these bigger artists, is there's a common theme between everybody, and everybody is the nicest people you'll ever meet.
Oh yeah,
because you really get the sense of these guys are They're very self-aware. They really know how lucky they are. They know how hard they've worked.
Yeah.
And they're just here having fun. And they're not looking at, when we're opening up for Sublime with Rome, we got the opportunity to hang out with them after the show, and we're chatting with them. Like that's a band that like I grew up listening to, who Daniel grew up listening to. Like we used to skateboard listening to their music all the time. Huge influence on us.
Yeah.
And these guys were the nicest guys ever.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
The nicest dudes ever. And you know what? That made it even better opening up for them. And now I'm an even bigger fan of them.
Totally. Yeah.
Because like, you know what I mean? And there's been tons, like we met these guys, Honors, who we opened up for. They were in a band called Down with Webster before, and now they're Honors. And these guys, we used to listen to Down with Webster all the time, and they're not doing that now. But, they were a really big influence on us, and meeting them at the show on last Friday and them watching our sets and saying, hey man, that was really good. And like, love to have you again. It just it feels really good, and it just makes you realize that how important it is. Most people that get to the point that they're at are just really good people, and good things happen to good people. You know what I mean? And it's we see that more and more and more as we're going through this.
That's really cool. It's so important though, like to not burn bridges though, right?
Absolutely.
And you never know, like. That's the thing, right? You be nice to everybody because you never know like who's gonna make it, who might win the lottery next, and you'll still want to be friends with.
Yeah,
community, shake hands, network like crazy, and just the bigger your circle, like the more powerful you are, right? Like it's just if we're all holding hands, eventually we can, think about how big that is. Think of how powerful it is. You're not just, a band. You're this voice that's everywhere, and that. Yeah, that positivity like just is so powerful. So that's really, really cool to hear that, getting to meet your icons like that. And
a lot of the time too, it's like even if you're working with like a producer or engineer or a mixer or whoever, it's like there could be a guy, standing across the room from me who's 100%, the best guy. He's the best mixer I know.
Yeah.
Or there's this guy who's a 95, and maybe that guy who's 100% is a dick. But the guy who's like 90%, 85% is the nicest guy in the world. You send him notes, he takes his time. Yeah, man, there's no time limit. There's no certain amount of mix revisions. I just want to make you happy, man. And that guy's going to win.
That guy's getting the job.
That guy's getting the job.
Oh, yeah.
Literally, that's
Hands
what
down.
it is. Yeah. Hands down.
That's cool because what you just described there is like how I try and like build myself. So I like that you said that.
That's how we pick
as an engineer.
We've never had a guy who's been like horrible before.
Yeah.
But that's the one thing with all the guys that we work with. Ben Kaplan, he mixed and engineered and co-produced Animalistic.
Right.
Just super good guy. Yeah. And he was like, guys, we're not for budgeting and stuff like that. It's per song. It's not by hour. Like I'm going to make sure you guys are really happy with this because I'm on this too. And I want to be proud of it too. And I want you guys to be happy. And that was the same with mixes. It's not like you got 3 mix revisions, better get your notes ready. It's like, no, it's like, I'm going to take the time to make sure that you guys are proud of this and you're going to push this and you're happy about it. And that's the same thing with JVP, who did our latest song, who mixed that. Same thing. There's no mix, no limit to it. It's just my name's on it too. I want to be just as proud as you guys are.
The best results at any cost, right?
And do you know what? Maybe it's on paper, that's not the best way to do a business because your time is money. Sure. But at the same time, though, you'll get the client back again and make more money than you would have. Yeah. Instead of putting limits on everything.
And here you are telling me and everyone listening to the show about that experience.
These amazing, exactly. That's exactly how it works. That's and you know what? They're good guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Have good work ethics, good guys.
So important.
And we're not even talking about their talent.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
They're amazing too.
So important. Yeah. Yeah, that should have been one of the, on the outside of the door, like keep your mouth shut, but next to that, no. Well, you know what?
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about.
In Studio A, keep your mouth shut. That was like on the door. But like a side note to that should just be like no ego. Just like be cool. Like that should be a prerequisite to this industry, right?
Yeah.
Need more people like that.
Another thing too, it's like a big thing for us has been the focus on relationships, and another mistake, but another learning. I'm trying to like, go through my head and like give all kind of the things that we've learned along the way. And I think it could really help people because we've experienced it. And it's a big key. is building relationships with no ROI kind of expected.
Okay.
So
True.
I've seen, like, dude, you can sniff them out. Like, you could, like, so many people and in networking events and people that go to like Breakout West and CMW and all these South by Southwest and stuff, just like build relationships for building, because I want something out of it. Like, you put me on, you put me on, you put me on. And like, I mean, like every musician on the come up, rapper, whoever is like quoting Gary Vee, but it's like, it is true that the jab, right hook. And like, that has been my mentality too in thinking of building relationships, see what I could offer, or collaborations like on social media. I've been blessed to do like a lot of cool Instagram collaborations. And if you go in thinking of like what, not being like annoying, but like what could I provide, what could I do for them instead of what can I get out of it? Like that's always going to be a positive, man. And just building the relationship for building a relationship. A lot of our recent successes too, like we were on the show, the launch, like this year,
right?
Like that came out of or helped was a relationship of ours that was built years ago. Was the catalyst for us getting on the show this
like
year,
4 years ago,
right?
That relationship,
and so it's having that again. It's like everybody wants it so bad right now. Like, I want it so bad. I look at this person's doing it. Like, oh. But it's like, it is, again, staying that course and being patient and like just building the relationships and having the confidence in yourself and self-awareness to be like, with time, it's gonna work out, and building those relationships again with no return kind of,
ulterior motive. Like, I'm doing this only because I want something from you. I want something out of it. I'm not just doing it because it's something I truly believe in as well. And like you said, Dan, like, those people, you can sniff them out a mile away.
Man.
Like, within minutes.
Oh yeah,
you can get that impression.
You're already
pretty quick.
like, man.
Yeah. Oh, you're one of those.
Yeah. 100%.
Fuck, man. Well, should we wrap this up? I think we've had a pretty damn good run here, you guys.
We're gonna be talking after this too.
We'll keep this going, but thank you guys so much for doing this. Like, it means so much to me that you guys came through, and like I said, like being a fan of yours and then seeing you guys just still doing the thing, it's for me, you guys are an inspiration for real. Like,
dude, we're a fan of you, man.
So
you're an awesome friend, and it's been awesome starting our journey at school together and having connecting after these years. And as much as we don't see each other, I still think back to these people who were part of our lives in crucial moments, and I still think of these people as my good friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so thank you for having us. I really appreciate it, dude.
Thank you, man. Yeah. And where can people check you guys out on? I know we're taking a bit of a hiatus from Instagram, but it's the Faceplants on
just
online.
The Faceplants everywhere.
Yeah, the Faceplants. Yeah.
Just Instagram,
Google.
Everything.
Just Google the Faceplants.
Yeah, subscribe to that YouTube channel.
Spotify.
We got that blue check.
We got that verified.
Yeah.
So nothing but big things on the horizon.
Yeah,
and
new music.
New music. We're gonna be looking forward to that. I will come out to a show. Just let me know, please, and I'm fucking there front. I'll be front row with my suit on. Boys.
Will you bring it back for us, or has it always been here still?
What?
Have you been wearing the suit lately?
Oh, I've put on a little bit of weight since then, so I've been
muscle.
Muscle. So I've got a new one, but I will wear it.
Nice.
Cool.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, guys, and thanks everybody for listening. Hope you're having a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Peace.